Please, my.
We're live.
I know. Last night I said these words to my girl. Oh no!
What happened?
There you go. Hey!
Hey, what?
Woo! So my brother is actually writing a theme. He's got a couple that he said. I said, look, I wanted a cross between Kiss and and Rush, and he's like, cool. So he hasn't recorded it yet.
Wait a minute. I'm processing that in my head right now.
I know, right? Exactly.
Kiss
they did use the tour together.
Rush. Okay. All right.
And then we'll be able to play that. And since he owns the rights, we'll be able to play as much as we want.
So we'll have a show open.
We will have a show open to the Ron Ross Radio Show podcast. Welcome in. Woohoo! It is 11:01 East Coast time.
Yes.
I am your host, Ron Ross, and thank you so much for hanging out with us. With me is, gosh, I don't even want to say executive producer, but like pretty much does everything on this except for me talking. He does everything else. Is John Yaglenski. John.
Just call me John.
Johnny. John Taylor. Taylor Made Tuesday.
Never Johnny.
No.
Never Johnny.
I call him Johnny all the time.
Does
that bother you?
It's not a thing with me. I'm not a Johnny. My dad was Johnny.
Oh, your dad was Johnny. Well,
it was John, my grandfather, Johnny, right, my dad, and John 3 was me.
That's you?
Yeah, that was the roll call right there.
See, now my dad is also Ron.
Right.
And I was Ronnie.
Are you a junior?
Yeah, it was Ron, Big Ronnie, Little Ronnie. Mom would call Dad Ronnie, and or Ron. And then when I got to 14, actually, I was going to high school, driving to St. Joseph's Catholic High School in Emmitsburg, Maryland. My mother's driving because she got a job as a, Jennifer just posted a comment, by the way. If you're listening to the podcast and not watching it, she just posted a comment and said, I'm catching you live. Finally got my settings notifications right on YouTube. Yay!
Yeah,
yes, we're on YouTube and we are on
the
Facebook and everywhere where you get your podcasts after this is all done.
Yes.
And I'll get to that in just a second.
Subscribe.
But Mom said, she goes, I think it's time you're Ron now.
Oh, so you are Ron. Yeah, well, that's like, just it. I'm just John.
Yeah. I was Ronnie all the way. It was always my older brother and me, Joe and Ronnie, or Joseph and Ronald when we were being called in.
Right.
When the mom would stand there and go, Joseph and Ronald, and you're like, and you had to run right while saying coming. You never said what. If you said what, you were grounded.
Right upside the head.
All right. Oh, by the way, okay, so we have a phone number that you can call, and John's going to throw that up here on the
on the ticker.
Gross. He's going to post it on the video.
Yeah.
And we have a number you can call if you want to leave a message, and we can play it back the next week, and we can talk to you, and you can bring up subjects or give us your opinion, anything. 240-415-9090. 240-415-9Z.
Operators are standing by. We are
ready. We are ready. You can call in 240-415-9090. Please like the podcast and subscribe and share with all of your friends and people you think that might be interested in and enjoy our podcast. The Ron Ross Radio Show podcast. Now I have a regular radio show now. I got a job on Key 103 in Frederick, Maryland, WAFY. So you can listen live to that every afternoon. I'm an afternoon drive guy now. I don't have to get up in the morning at 3 p.m. Eastern. 3 p.m. Eastern. You can listen to me live, and I have most of the features. Question of the day and movies out and stuff like that. And we've been playing the games. I've played the movie game. I haven't played the movie game in over 3 years, and it was great to get somebody on the phone, on an actual phone call, and play the movie game where I gave the synopsis to a movie, but I changed the actors' names and gave the I changed the characters' names and gave the actors' names. You just had to name the movie. It's very simple, but it was a head-to-head competition. You had to go against each other. So,
Oh,
John,
nice.
if I said,
Okay. Here we
Albert
go.
Brooks
hmm
was searching for his son, assisted by Ellen DeGeneres, you would say,
I didn't see that movie.
yeah, you did. I
I
guarantee
did?
you saw it. Albert Brooks, who is a clownfish, is
Oh,
searching for his son,
I forgot. Oh, God.
assisted
Yes.
by Ellen DeGeneres.
Chico.
Yeah,
Nemo.
who was a
Nemo.
blue something
Nemo
tang
in
anyway.
a
So yeah,
big
so it was
blue
Finding Nemo. So
world.
that was the game we got to
Yeah.
play. So I've brought a bunch of the games
forgot.
back now that we
What?
have phone calls. You can get in on the action. It's a
I
lot of fun.
completely forgot Albert Brooks was in that.
Do you remember do you remember the joke that he made?
It's embarrassing.
He was the clownfish, and everybody asked him if he had a joke, and he who needs friends when you're an anemone?
Oh.
That was the punchline at the end. By the way, spoiler alert, that's at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Of Finding Nemo.
Michelle had it.
Yes, of course she did.
Nemo.
Close enough.
It's a little
But
typo.
yeah,
We'll
Finding
count
Nemo.
it.
Sorry, that's incorrect. That's a typo.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Also, I did want to say we got an email. Was it an email or was it a comment? I think somewhere on the Ron Ross Facebook page that said,
Here we go.
we should name the show I Digress.
I mean, is that or squirrel? One or the other. I mean,
You know, you're not wrong, dude. You're not wrong. I forget who said it. I'd have to go back and look it up to give you credit. If we do change it to I Digress, it might, because Ron Ross radio show podcast, that's kind of long. We could just say I Digress.
it's funny because it's long, but okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
I
true.
Digress is pretty good.
I Digress. And it's also, truth in advertising. I mean, it's the truth is in the title of the show. By the way, can you see the zit I have on my nose? I gotta turn this
No.
off.
Thanks for sharing.
Horrible.
Are you gonna
horrible
pop it on
zit.
the air or
I
something
felt
next?
like
What are you
teenager.
doing?
Huh?
Are you gonna pop it on the air
I
next?
almost, no, I
What
already,
are you-
I already
Jeez.
took care of it. Relax.
Okay. Goodness.
I had to.
You.
I had to what? Irrigate it? I don't know what I did, But then I'm a bleeder because I'm on blood.
Oh, here we go.
So I had to keep wiping it,
This might
pressing
need
it, and apply
TMI jingle.
direct pressure. There you go. I almost didn't do the podcast today because I went to the greatest wife ever. I'm like, do you have some makeup?
Hey, you're on camera. It's legit.
I know. I'm like,
Right?
oh, this is gonna be so gross for people to look at. So I mean, aside from this.
Mm-hmm.
So all right. So I
The
did
people
want to
are
bring
not
up,
tuning in for our looks, Ron.
clearly.
I'm just saying.
All right, I'm gonna have a little bit of my oh, look at that. It's key 103
Hydration.
water.
What?
Oh,
Look at that.
delicious.
Branded.
Tastes like Frederick.
I don't know what that is. I'm glad you have water this time, though, since we still don't have a cough button.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I'm good.
So, all right.
Okay, so Sunday is Father's Day.
Yes.
And I spoke a little bit last week about my dad, and he was one of those guys that stopped at every placard on the side of the road that had a history, and he would read it aloud to us. And we got a lot of comments that said that's a great dad. And you know what? Great dad. I have to go down on record as having a great dad and a great childhood. It was it's 3 boys. It was my oldest brother, Joe. I'm the middle kid, and then there was a 9-year difference between me and my younger brother, Greg, who's the teacher. Joe's career Air Force, and then I started doing this. And my younger brother,
You're the misfit.
is a history teacher. He's a guitar teacher, and that's how he got into being a history teacher at a local school, at a local Catholic high school. But Dad, let's see. He worked for the Food and Drug Administration for the federal government. He was a Fed. He had a shield and everything. He had credentials, man.
Oh,
He could
sweet.
walk into, and flash the shield like FDA, man. Let me see. And he would he could go on inspections. He had to show it when he went on inspections.
Oh, wow.
And he flew up and down the East Coast. And because he was, did he have the South? He had the South, but he was in the East. When he was first stationed in Baltimore when he got his first assignment with the Food and Drug, and we lived in Arbutus. Actually, gosh, I take that back. I am completely wrong. His first assignment was in Atlanta. He and Mom got married, and they moved. He was already living and working in Atlanta. They got married in Baltimore, and he took his brand new bride, fresh out of college. She had her college degree, and fresh out of college, and moved to Atlanta, Georgia, where she had no friends. She knew nobody but my dad, and my dad was out on the road. And he was he tells the story of being in Florida and driving by all this swampland. And somebody says, somebody said Walt Disney's buying all this stuff. And he's like, really? Whatever.
Right. I mean,
back
in those days, it was cow pasture.
Yep, exactly. And then my older brother was born. So now you have Mom with that. This is actually turning into a Mother's Day speech.
Yeah. Where are you going with this?
Anyway, Dad was on the road. He was a Food and Drug Administration food and field inspector. He will not eat a hot dog to this day.
Oh,
yeah.
Things were a lot less.
He did meat packing plants, and he did. He was instrumental, as I recall, in. There was a botulism case with Bon Vivant Vichy Soir. Bon Vivant was the name of the brand, I believe. I was a little kid. I don't know why I remember all this stuff.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Vichy Soir. And he was one of the inspectors on that. He also inspected A.H. Robbins. And his career, he went from inspections, and then he was Freedom Information Office. If you needed anything from the Food and Drug Administration, he had to go find or approve the documents or whatever. Then he was in Bureau of Medical Devices, and you digress. Thanks, Stephanie. Stephanie just put up.
She's keeping you on track, son.
I'm still talking about my dad.
I know. All
right. But he was, where was I? Rats. Freedom of Information Office, then Bureau of Medical Devices.
Right.
Office of Compliance, actually. Compliance. And he, what movie is that from, John? Compliance.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
That one I don't know.
I think it's not even, I think it's a Disney movie, too.
Come on,
Compliance.
Man. I don't know.
Flight of the Navigator.
Oh, yeah.
Voiced done by Paul Rubens, who was Pee Wee
Herman. Yeah.
Compliance. Anyway. And wrote regulations on all kinds of stuff. So, if you were importing used heart pacemakers, used from people who had previously used them but weren't using them anymore.
If you catch your drift.
If you know what I'm saying,
right.
There's a regulation for that.
Okay.
He also, there was a thing with like contact lenses. I won't mention the company's name. Contact lenses that were in the wrong cases, and people were getting the wrong lenses, and it was a lawsuit.
That would be a problem.
They had to padlock the warehouse. Dad gave that order. So
knock him up, son.
So I'm named after Dad. Now, Dad grew up in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
His father had a stall in the fish market in Baltimore. Fish market was a big, long building.
Yeah.
Right. And you had individual retailers and wholesalers who had stalls in there.
Right.
And Dad was on the end, or my grandfather was on the end. August Ross.
That's a name.
Yeah.
That's a name. Like, I love August.
Yeah, August was his name.
His
brother was Jimmy. Family. So it was Jimmy, Uncle Jimmy. My dad's Uncle Jimmy was my great Uncle Jimmy. But he had a stall, Ross's Fish Market in Baltimore, and Dad worked there from when he was like a kid. all the way through college, I believe. He got straight A's in elementary school, St. Bernardine's, and he got to go to, he got a free ride to Loyola Blakefield, the high school. He did straight A's there, and he got a free ride to Loyola College. Straight A's there, and then he went to medical school. And he decided that that was not for him, and he joined the armed services, and then from there he was in the from the FDA. But anyway, the fish market in Baltimore, Dad worked there, and it was shrimp every Friday, I think, and crabs every Saturday. Because Catholics at that time, before Vatican II, you didn't eat meat
on Fridays.
On Fridays,
right?
Period. Didn't matter whether it was Lent or not. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So Polish Catholic. So on the east end, east side of Baltimore, Dad grew up. Yes. Oh yeah. Polish Catholic. Jaglensky.
And
yeah, Ross is not a Polish name, by the way. That was made up. It actually comes from Rash, R-A-S. So a bunch of Rashes running around Baltimore that I'm probably related to, but I don't know. But Ross, one of them Anglicanized it. I don't know who it was, whether it was my grandfather or his father or whatever. But August Ross had the nickname Hoggy Augie because before the Bay Bridge was built, you would go to the Inner Harbor and get your crab. My grandpa would go to the Inner Harbor and buy up all the crabs. He would corner the market for 4th of July weekend.
So he was hogging the crabs.
Was it Ross's Fish Market?
Smart man.
They called him Hoggy Augie. I don't know what kind of reputation he had in the business, but my dad
probably not great among his competitors.
My dad would tell me that. Yeah.
But
so there you go. That's my affinity to Baltimore. I was born in Baltimore, but then you found out last week that I was raised outside Raleigh and Richmond.
Yeah.
Because Dad was transferred with the Food and Drug. And then but he taught me how to throw a baseball and hit the ball and throw a football, and he would come outside and throw the ball around. I mean, he did all the things, a father does with a son. He would have to sometimes he would have to work, though. He'd bring if I see a yellow legal pad, though, it kind of makes me ill because they were everywhere. But he would use the dining room table as his desk, and he would work there. But that's where I learned he had a dictaphone. So he had a secretary that he would have to write all these reports for. And the dictaphone had this blue belt. Okay. And there was a needle or whatever it was that would transcribe the voice from the dictaphone microphone onto that. And basically it was recording the grooves like on a record.
Right.
And that's where I got bitten by the bug.
Yeah.
I started doing.
We all have our moment, right?
Dad would give me a belt that I could play with, one of those little blue belts that I could play with, and I started recording like little dramas and using newspaper sound effects for fire, and somebody was getting burned in a fire. So that was the only sound effect I knew how to make. So of course somebody got burned in a fire. And it was my first, my first drama was from Dad with the.
So explain to me the little belts. Did you swap them out after you?
Yeah.
Like so you scratched,
right? Yeah, and then you got to the end. It would go all the way across.
Yeah,
and then so when that was full,
yeah,
then you pulled that off and you put a new belt.
Brand new belt.
Yeah.
Wow. I had I think my grandmother or aunt gave me like a little reel to reel machine. Like with tiny reels.
No way.
Yep. And until it died, I was able to record on that. And then transferred to in the bedroom with the little stereo and the cassette. Actually, it might have even just been a regular cassette player making radio shows.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be a DJ.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying every DJ has this moment where they probably played DJ at some point. So. Or maybe it's our generation.
Yes, I played an announcer in was it 8th grade play, 6th grade play, I think, at St. Paul's. and I took the microphone. For some reason, I thought that the microphone had to come from above, so I set the stand a little high, and I had the microphone come down like this.
I could do that. I mean,
so I could be,
like
I could be a DJ.
Hey, this is what we're doing to be.
But actually, you know what, Dad? Wanted to learn how to play guitar. He took a few lessons, but he bought a classical guitar, which has it had nylon strings on it, not gut strings, but nylon strings. And then he put that aside. So I initially learned how to play drums. Mom and Dad paid for drum lessons I took from when I was 6 years old. Learned all the 5-stroke roll, the 7-stroke roll, what they call the rudiments, the flam accent, the flamacue, and all that stuff. Marching.
You are actually quite a good drummer.
You
are quite a good drummer. Ron didn't mention we played in a band together.
We played in a band together. That's right.
Yeah, and
John asked me to, and I'm going to tell you this: when somebody asks me to play, I play. Period. No matter what. I don't care what kind of music it is. I don't care what it is. If somebody invites me to play, I will play. And but no, I had the drums. I bought a snare.
So were we looking for it?
Snare. I didn't buy a snare. My parents bought me a snare. Here we go.
Wait, okay, for those of you listening, Ron is picking up a drum.
This is my snare drum from when I was 6 years old. I still have it. I play it to this day. It is a Ludwig. And I had to have a Ludwig because who had a Ludwig drums?
What? Neil Peart?
Ringo Starr.
Ringo Starr. I don't know.
Underneath the Beatles, or on top of the Beatles logo on the front, you see Ludwig on the top, and I had to have it. So this is my snare drum that I had when I was 6 years old. And I would sit there and practice, but not really practice.
That's awesome.
And Dad, and then later my older brother took up the cornet. He didn't want to play the trumpet for some reason. He played the cornet. So we had a nickel-plated cornet. It was gorgeous. And so I read a poll not too long ago, when you have children growing up, that the two worst instruments to have your children learn is drums and trumpet. There we were.
It's funny. Had somebody actually given me the option to learn bass when I was younger, I probably would have done it instead of waiting till I was 40.
But you did it. That's the point, though.
Yeah, but still, I might have been a lot better at it.
Right. I know. Well,
I didn't have that option. Nobody came to me and said, bass guitar is an option, John, for you to play.
Right. No.
It just
did you play guitar?
No.
What did you play?
That's too hard. I didn't play anything. I sang.
You didn't play. Oh, you sang.
Yeah.
Sorry, Johnny's a singer. I'm sorry, not Johnny.
No, I'm not. I pretend I'm a singer, but you know what I love about Ron? Ron, when I invited him to be in the band, Ron played the songs I wanted to sing and do. Never complained once, and took the time to learn the songs correctly. Like there was not a drum fill that was out of place. Like, I loved that. And I noticed that attention to detail. That's one of the things actually I love about Ron Ross, period, is the attention to detail.
Oh, you're so very kind. Who was that? What was the first one we played? The Glenn?
Neil Morse.
Neil Morse.
Yeah.
That was a challenging, hard song to learn on the drums. It was a great song, but to get the changes down, because that drummer,
because it's a little
I don't have a double kick pedal. I have a single kick pedal. I never learned how to play double kick.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was playing a double kick on that, but it was a challenge, man. It was great.
Well, that's what I liked. You took it seriously. By the way, Stephanie quotes Dave Grohl from Ted Lasso, or Ted Lasso from about Dave Grohl. Dave Grohl learned to play on pillows. That's funny. Well, I mean, I could see that, right?
I had boxes. I played on boxes.
If you're a drummer, it doesn't matter. Your instrument is everywhere, right?
Napua wishes I knew how to play guitar. So pick it up and learn how to
play.
I taught myself how to play guitar.
Yeah, I was 40 before I played a musical. I knew nothing really other than singing notes. I couldn't read music or anything.
I could read drum music, I could read time signatures, and I could sight read. And I was at the point now I was taking rock drumming when I was like 13. And then it just all fell by the wayside because I was lazy. And which is why I'm not a drummer by profession to this
Yeah, but
day.
you're a heck of a drummer anyway.
But you're very kind. I love it so.
He's
And
like, dude, I'm 50. Okay.
so
Why?
what's your
Yeah.
point, Napua?
Yeah, what's your point?
Get to a real objection.
Yes, that's not good enough.
So far, I don't see anything.
Yeah.
I literally, for daughter the younger, for Carolina, we all know her name now, right?
Right.
And her band Swerves. We gave her a guitar, and I put her in front of the computer, and I pulled up the chord tablature.
Right. That's how I play.
A grid.
Mm-hmm.
Showed you with an E, A, D, all that stuff. And there you go. And I just let her do that. Now, I did get to a point playing guitar where I'm like, I've kind of hit a ceiling and I'd like to move past that. So I paid and took guitar lessons myself. And that was senior year in high school. And it was Dale Hooper was my guitar teacher, who still plays around in the area. And he's incredible. But, it was lift the guitar up. You don't want to,
right.
rock star it down, and bend your wrist and break your wrist while you're doing it. Your wrist should be completely flat and straight going across, and don't hook your thumb around the neck. I mean, he taught me, he said, go ahead and play what you play. And I was playing some Neil Young or whatever and trying to really impress the guy. And he's like, yeah, you can play. And then I can tell you 4 things you're doing wrong right now. Like,
oh boy.
Well, this is why I'm taking lessons.
Right.
And I learned what they were: to keep your thumb on the back of the neck,
Yep. Well, there's something about lessons. I took lessons too, but at some point
from Shane Gamble, by the way.
Yeah, from Shane Gamble, country music artist. Look him up online. Did about 5 of his music videos too, as well with him.
You guys are tight. You guys are buds.
We are buds. But the thing is, you reach a point where you're learning like music and scales and stuff. And it's like, dude, I want to play something. And what I would say is whatever teacher you get, have them mix in early on, you actually learning songs you want to know, because it makes you want to delve further into learning and technique and things like that. And that's what we did early on. And I got better and better because I was playing songs I wanted to play and I was picking tougher songs too. So
this brings up a very good point.
Yeah.
And this will turn into a plug for a local business, but
okay.
It's just going to be a business.
Yep.
It is what it is. And then we're going to get back to talking about my dad. We've gone off on a tangent. I digress. And that is the Let There Be Rock School from Frederick, because I think that's where you took your lesson.
Yes, right? I did. Yeah.
Because what they do is they teach you and it's for kids, but it's also for
adults,
adults. And I played in the adult band with John, because they were looking for a drummer. They needed a drummer.
Yep.
And but they teach you an instrument, so you have individual lessons, but then they form bands, and then the bands have to pick songs. And then usually there's a theme. And then every 3 months they have a show. Basically, it's like a recital. When you go to a dance recital and they're like, and here we learn the time step. And here we learn, this is the ballet. It's the same thing. It's a recital where they go, all right, here we go. We've learned Rush. Right. We learned, Limelight. And then they come out and, and somebody's taking vocal lessons, and it's really cool. I used to go and host those.
Yeah, most of them are really good too.
Yeah.
You're surprised that you didn't expect 50-year-old me getting up on stage and we
singing.
We did some. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't a great singer. Okay, I will admit I'm not a great singer, but I got up and did it. It's like one of those things.
What was the U2 song? We did a U2 song.
Oh,
didn't we?
Well, I don't. Our band did. We did Pride in the Name of Love.
That was it.
Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah.
Which was that me?
Really easy bass song. No, I don't think that was you. You probably
did. Okay, when we did do Journey, I named the band, by the way.
Not All There.
Not all there, because we can never have everybody there at practice.
That was true. It was like a struggle.
Somebody was always missing.
Yeah, I know, or late or something like that. Yeah, I could go back and look. And we did the Marillion song, which was the one that I really wanted to do.
The Marillion song, that's right.
Right. And Learning to Fly.
We did a Journey song.
We did?
No, we didn't.
No, REO.
Time for Me to Fly. REO Speedwagon.
REO Speedwagon. Time for Me to Fly, which was really good. You guys learned harmonies on that. So.
We did.
But I digress.
That was... We digress. Anyway, so my dad had a guitar.
Back to Dad. Sorry.
No, Dad taught me all the things that a father teaches a son. You know, how to kick a football, throw a football, and throw a baseball. Now we also got into model rockets. So model rockets. My brother, there were two companies, Estes and Century, and they made model rockets. So my older brother, Joe, decides my dad gets us into model rockets. We weren't doing models at the time. You know, you build a model. I had the number 43. I had the King Richard Petty's Plymouth. It's Plymouth, right? Was it
yeah. No, it was Plymouth. Yeah.
Plymouth. Baby blue.
Yep.
Put all the decals on, glue, all of that stuff, testers, paints. We'd had all that stuff
on a rocket.
And so then Dad got a rocket. It was the Mercury Redstone, which was, if you go by levels of difficulty, say level 1 is the easiest. This was probably like a 4 or 5.
Oh, okay.
And the first time my brother is making a model rocket, and did it have 2 stages? I think it had 2 stages, but there were big engines. You go out in the field and across the street from us, because in our neighborhood in Holly Ridge, off of Atlee Road in Mechanicsville, Virginia, and the back of the Holly Ridge Christian Church was a big field that they never did anything with. And we would take that and out, and you put the rocket on them. Take off, and then you had to follow it because it was so high,
right? Yeah,
and it would get caught in a tree or whatever as it came down. So I got my first rocket. Mom and Dad gave me and I was an Evel Knievel kid. All right, I had to have the Evel Knievel stunt cycle and all of that stuff. It was
everybody did back then.
Best toy ever made.
Do you see
that's a totally
you can
different
buy them. You can buy them now.
I know they're remaking them, yeah. But
That's
it was originally done by Ideal. Speaking of which,
Evil spelled I'm going to digress. By the way,
my father, when he was working from home, actually brought. I missed that joke. What did you say?
Evil, like it's not spelled EVIL.
No, EVEL. Yeah, right. Evil, because
that's a little piece of trivia.
Knievel.
You're welcome.
KNIEVEL. So, my dad was working from home, and he brought home one of the like initial copiers. It was a hand copier machine, like a photostat copy.
A mimeograph?
A big light. You put a pink film on whatever document you were copying, and you put the thing on, and then you set the timer. And then you peeled that sheet off and you put it on a blank piece of paper and you rolled it through a roller, and then you had a copy, right?
Wasn't that mimeograph machine?
Was it mimeograph?
Yeah, like in school we used to. Were those?
No. No, Mom was a teacher, so no. Okay. I know what a mimeograph is because I used to use that all the time.
Those were purple.
That went on the big roller.
Yeah, and you went.
No. No, it was. So I remember.
Okay.
Because when you got the Sears and Roebuck, or it was J.C. Penney's, the Christmas catalog, there was the ad for Evel Knievel Stunt Cycle, and I took that copyright and I made a copy of that page. I stared at it for 2 solid stinking months. I swear, John.
I know.
Absolutely, I did.
I know.
Absolutely, I did. And you better believe Santa brought that. Santa brought that Evel Knievel. Even though my dad put a copy of the Richmond Times-Dispatch with an article that says, you can't find Evel Knievel anywhere. It's the hot toy for December, and it's nowhere. And I'm like, why are you showing me this, Dad? I asked Santa.
Just,
like,
just
I
in
don't want you
case,
to
you
get
know,
your
the
hopes
elves
up.
are out of
Yeah,
stock.
don't get your hopes up.
You never know. Kind of like
That
the
one
Cabbage
and
Patch
and
Kids.
the Batman Batcave. But anyway, he gave me the Evel Knievel, the rocket that he did to jump over Snake River Canyon, right?
Right.
So, I glue on and it was like a level 1. So I'm gluing on the fins or whatever. And then, I was done in a day, all right, done. Decals are on, spray painted it, all done. Let's take it out. So Joe's got his,
Right.
he's got his rocket, his Mercury Redstone rocket. And I've got my rocket. And so Joe's takes off because if you've never seen a model rocket, it's got a launch pad is just usually a tripod made out of plastic, and then there's a little metal disc base, and then there's a rod that you have little tubes on the side of your rocket that will just hold the rocket in place for you to then you put the little clamps in your battery and clamps to your fuse that goes inside the engine. And dry fuel engine. I have no idea what was in it, but anyway, Joe's goes off without a hitch. Everything's great. I I just built it. Here you go. There's my rocket. And it took off. The straightest path was while it was on that rod. Because as soon as it left the rod, it was like, and it was buzzing the crowd. And we're like, ah! My father's best friend was like standing there like, is this supposed to be doing that, Ron?
I don't think it's supposed to be
My
doing.
dad was like, did you measure? Did you draw a plumb line? Did you do anything? And I'm like, I don't just glue the fins on.
Oh my goodness.
It was the best.
Yes.
Eric
works for a rocket company.
Use black powder pressed in a cardboard sleeve. Thank you, Eric. Eric's put up a
he said he works for a model rocket company.
Clearly.
What's the coincidence in that? I mean,
yeah, but anyway, so Dad, we used to love the model rockets. Dad liked to do the model rockets. And then one of the things that Dad did that relaxed him, which I never understood how, but he did, is we had the football, the electric football field with the little players, little plastic players about that big, and they had a big green base on them. And you put them on the vibrating football field, and whatever. Yeah, my brother Joe had one, and I had a football field. And my dad would spend, and you get the teams, and it was the New York Giants, and it was kind of a blue paint, whatever, it was factory painted, but nobody cared. My dad sat there with he had all these bottles of Testors paint, all right, and he had paintbrushes. I swear they had like 2 hairs on it, and he painted every one of those football players. And he would put if the numbers had an outline around it, he would put an outline around it. Like he did the star on the Dallas Cowboys, the side of the helmet, but the star has a border. He did the border outside the star and the star.
Amazing. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Baltimore Colts, of course, he took the best. By the way, there kids, there was a football team in Baltimore before the Ravens. The Colts that are in Indianapolis were in Baltimore. So the Baltimore Colts. Colts, because it was named after the Preakness, the Colts that ran at the Preakness. That's why they're called the Colts.
I did not know that.
Yeah. It's not, they should have been called the Indianapolis Racers. Although I really like, they should have never used the Colt name there. But I do like the Ravens name. Yes. Speaking of which, that's going to bring us to today's question of the day. Shall we? You want to do the question of the day?
Is it? We can do that.
All right.
Hold on. Because that's why we sneaking up on
time to get the gray matter working. Fire off the synapses, engage the frontal lobe, form new neural networks. Utilize the cerebrum. It's time to think. It's the question of the day. I still don't have that little poo sounder for the radio station.
I should send that to you.
Yeah, you should send it to me, please, so I can edit it. I need to get that. Anyway, here's today's question of the day.
Mm-hmm.
The inspiration for Edgar Allan Poe's poem, The Raven, quote the Raven, nevermore, nevermore, was the pet raven of this author, famous for several novels and a very famous Christmas story that I'm giving it away. I'm handing it to you. The inspiration for Edgar Allan Poe's poem, The Raven, was the pet raven of this author, famous for several novels and a very famous Christmas story.
Answer now in the chat.
Huh?
Answer now in the chat.
Oh, yeah. Answer in the chat. And you can, yeah, please tell us. Let us know.
Good luck. Got some answers coming in. I'm not, we got to give everybody a chance to chime in here.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Although you did kind of give it away a little bit.
I did. Well, I didn't want to be too.
I'd like to have a word with the QOD team.
Who? You?
Is that you? That I have a word with? Okay.
That's me.
You know, in the back office, the people in the back office making it too easy. Come on.
No. Yeah. You think it's made it too easy? No. You want to answer it. You want to be able to answer it.
Look, when
John, look.
All right, first of all, here's our winner.
Okay.
He was the first.
There you go, Charles Dickens. There you go.
Yeah. But not a wrong answer.
Eric, you know so much. What was the name of the bird? Oh. Okay. It was Grip.
Everybody was right.
Grip was the name of the bird. And it would sit. Yeah, everybody had Charles Dickens.
Yeah.
Charles Dickens, but Edgar Allan Poe. And the Baltimore Ravens had 3 mascots, Edgar, Allan, and Poe. But then it was just like too much. So then they had just.
Aw.
Yeah, I know, right?
Scared the Dickens out of me. The Dickens. Nobody gets me.
Come on. Don't quote Bill Murray movies to me, man.
All right.
Don't quote Christmas Bill Murray movies.
It's one of my favorites. Scrooged is one of my favorite Christmas movies ever.
Oh, John, you and I are going to have so much fun at holiday time.
Okay.
Because I'm doing an entire show about that.
Are you?
And we're going to do an entire podcast with that.
I've got a list.
And we have to go and collect, favorite movies?
Christmas movies, yeah. Well, pretty much anything I own on DVD or Blu-ray, it took the time to buy is something that I want to watch every holiday season.
Now, your wife, who I was friends with since high school, I did not know this, but she shares an affinity for one of my favorite Christmas movies.
Which would be?
Scrooge, the musical.
Yeah, the Albert Finney version. Yes.
Yeah, from 1970. Yeah.
Though I like the Jean-Luc Picard, Patrick Stewart one. That's
a good one too. That's a really good one too.
Yeah.
I like when he goes into the church and he starts.
We are halfway to the holidays.
That's a Christmas story. That's a Christmas show for another time.
Well, we're almost in July here, coming up on halfway to the holidays.
Well, no, we could next week. Let's do our half Christmas show.
That's it. I'm good. I'm down.
All right.
I'm down.
Because it'll be Leon. That's Noel backwards.
Oh, right. Exactly. Our Leon show.
Half Christmas show. Christmas in Connecticut. I mean, we could do Christmas in Joe. Stephanie, we're doing it next week.
Stephanie, next week. And
we'll do it next week. We will do our. See, there you go, Amy. Yes, love that one. Albert Finney. Yeah, I love.
Yes.
And they remade it or they updated it in an animated version that came out last year on Netflix. Mm-hmm. And they took some of the songs and they wrote some new songs.
Yeah.
My dream is to somehow bring that. And I know one person, family members, super connected with Broadway. And he knows people.
All right.
To bring that, there's a stage version of Scrooge. It's called Scrooge the Musical. Anthony Newley played Scrooge in London and the West End. I would love to bring that to the stage in the U.S. somewhere. Start in Washington, D.C. or Baltimore, man. Or start in Frederick, for God's sakes. You can get the, you can get the book. You can buy the book. But
Right.
I would love for that to be on stage.
It'd be fun. You know what we can talk about?
Well, what's that?
I was going to say, you know what we can talk about related to this is all the movies that are based off the concept of Scrooge. Because there are a lot of them that essentially follow the same sort of idea there. And then the one also, It's a Wonderful Life, and how many movies are based off the concept of that?
That was a question of the day, by the way, years ago at holiday time. Was it holiday time? Of what character or what book or novel has the most film adaptations?
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's not A Christmas Carol, though.
It isn't?
I thought it was A Christmas Carol, but it's not.
Okay.
It's Dracula.
Oh, well, yeah.
Dracula. I mean, Dracula has the most film. As I recall, I have to go back and look that up.
If I mentioned,
but you know what?
A cat named Vlad.
I digress.
Yeah, really. I could digress too.
So we were talking about my dad. I am named after my father. I'm the second son.
Father's
I am a junior. And there is my niece, Cassidy, who has just posted something. Oh, Cassidy, I do want to get to that. I'm going to do that next week, by the way. She sent me a video. But we're going to get to that next week on the podcast. I'm like literally in tears watching this thing. Just like a puddle. But I'm a puddle anyway. I mean, I cry at the drop of a hat.
We have that in common.
Do you really?
Which is
weird.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a sap. I'm a huge sap.
Speaking of Broadway, I come home. I can't watch Les Miserables. I didn't go and see Les Miserables in the theater because I was just going to be a basket case. I love everything about that and every song that's in it. But my favorite is On My Own, which is a song done by Eponine. Because she's in love with Marius, but he's already in love with Cosette. And, so it's unrequited love. And the song is just rips my guts out. So Greatest Wife Ever and I are out for the evening. We're out, carousing, whatever. And then we come home, and daughter of the younger, Carolina, now we know her name, is on the couch. And she had rented Les Miserables. She hadn't seen it, right? So I'm standing there. We have like Taco Bell tacos because we just come home. It's like 2:00 in the morning.
12.
I've got like a Coke and a box of Taco Bell tacos. And my Greatest Wife Ever is standing in front of me. But the song On My Own was on. She was asleep. The daughter's asleep. And my Greatest Wife Ever turns around. She goes, "Hey, have you seen?" And I'm just like, "Whoa."
Oh no.
I'm just sobbing. I woke her up because I was sobbing so bad.
Wow.
With that song.
Wow.
I love that song.
I was thinking Patti LaBelle and Michael McDonald when you said that.
No.
On my own.
Oh. There's some adult contemporary radio.
Can you tell I worked at Light FM? That's all I think about. That and yacht rock. So sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of, it's really weird because I mark major periods in my life from music,
right?
Not because of where I was when the song came out, but right. It's what radio station was I working at when I was playing it.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
I mean, John Mayer and the song, it wasn't even a big hit, called Clarity.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember that one.
Great song.
Okay.
Not really a big hit, but it's off his first album, I think, Room for Squares. I will always associate that with 2007 and first working at XM on Flight 26.
There you go.
For some reason, that one, Rocco DeLuca, the most colorful thing that I've seen, all of that. I've put together a playlist, by the way, of all that stuff from Flight 26. If anybody wants that really cool format to put on the radio,
You got it.
I've got
You're on it.
hundreds of songs.
You
I
need
have
to change the
compiled
name
that
though,
list.
not Flight 26, but you know, something close to that, like a knockoff brand.
Yeah. I'll call it something else.
Jet 26.
Yeah.
Or something like that, you know?
Jet 25 and a half.
Hey, it's Jet FM. That's not bad.
Actually, that's not bad. All right, we'll get to that later.
But we digress.
But I digress. So
Look,
I'm named
really
after my
good
dad.
work. Okay.
And there are two stories as to why I'm named after my dad. And I don't know which one, but I'll believe either one. One was that when I was born, Dad hadn't been in the room, but the baby had been wheeled into the room, me, with Mom, and the nurse asked her the name of the child, and my mom thought she was asking the name of the father. That's one story. Huh. And she was kind of drugged out. The second story is she did it on purpose and surprised Dad when he came into the room and said, "Hey, we really have to think about naming this baby." And Mom had said, "Well, he already has a name." And I'm named after him. So that's why I'm a junior. My older brother, usually, I think it's like the firstborn, right? Is usually named after the dad.
True.
But
typically.
Yeah. So we had two daughters, and Ronald III was taken right off the table.
John 4 was taken off the table by me.
By you? Why?
I didn't want to have a fourth. I just thought that's too much. That's a little too legacy. Do we not discuss this? I don't think we did during the podcast, but so my first son, Michael, is Michael Taylor for John Taylor. So there's a reference to me.
Really?
Yes.
Your wife let you use a radio name?
Yes. We actually liked the name. We almost used it as a first name, but then Michael is my grandfather on my mother's side, which he never met, but great man. And then Andrew is Andrew John.
Okay.
So we worked it in. And
you worked it in.
But we did not go. John 4 just was like John the Fourth. Come on. I don't know that many fourths.
No, all right. I get it, but I don't know. I was kind of looking for Ronald III, but no dice. But that's all right. We have a Jordan and a Carolina. So that's daughter of the elder's name, by the way. And you know what, John, we're running a little out of time, but I wanted to talk about your dad.
Oh, I will be glad to talk about Papa Yags. Papa Yags, as we would say, John F. Yaglensky Jr., was a master vacation planner. Like your dad, he was working a lot, but he was the kind of dad that always found time to do the important stuff with me.
Exactly.
Like you're talking about.
As did mine.
My dad would show up at a little league field because he was one of the coaches. He would coach with somebody just to make sure there was some coverage. And that was something that I learned. I thought that was a great idea. But he would show up in a shirt and tie at the baseball field and put a baseball cap on with his shirt and tie and chinos and dress pants and would coach and get out there and throw batting practice and stuff like that. I mean, so there were times, where he didn't have time to go home.
From the office. I got it.
Mom would take us, in the 1978 Ford LTD maroon station wagon, 10-seat with the rear seat facing backwards. And so you could make
things used to mess with my head. I always wanted to sit in that back seat just to see where we've been.
It was awesome.
And then, of course, all the truckers.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, go ahead.
So he would, he always had time for us. And quite frankly, family always came first. And he planned vacations like nobody else. He was the king of what they called the triptychs back then.
What's the best one you went on then?
The triptychs and mobile vacation guides. We went everywhere. So, I mean, Disney was one of our favorites, of course, because we first went there in 74 and then went.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. 2 years after it opened.
3 years old?
2 opened in 72.
Man,
I think.
Okay. All right.
I think that's right. But we went in 74. And yes, and then we ended up going like every second or third year after that. So you can see where my love of Disney came from. But
Whoa. You're driving from the Philadelphia area
right.
to Orlando, Florida.
Yeah.
How long was that?
And by the way, I-95 was not complete at that time. Like in the set, like there were sections where you had to get off of 95 and then you get back on to places where it was
on to
complete.
Route 1, because Route 1 still
Yeah.
ran north-south. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people can't imagine a time where major interstates in this country were not complete. Well, that was my youth. So, and your youth too. So it kind of weird, but yeah, we actually would drive. It was long drives from Pennsylvania, but bottom line, my dad would go just about anywhere. We did salt mines in Michigan, Mackinac Island up there. We did ice caves out in Pennsylvania, stalactites and stalagmites along the Blue Ridge and things like that. I mean, the haunted fort somewhere. Yeah, and back then, by the way, because 95 wasn't finished, there were a lot of tourist traps, and we stopped at them all, I think. So
probably had some really great meals and probably not so great meals, but
south
still.
of the border, yeah, some pretty awful hotels along the way. But I think the biggest thing to take out of all this is with my dad, family was number one, always was. I don't remember my parents ever going on a vacation just for them. I just don't remember that at all.
There you go.
I mean, maybe they did it once or something in the whole time we were growing up. So that was, I think we need a little bit more of that, where parents put their kids and family absolutely
never went anywhere,
no matter what.
Yeah, they never went anywhere without us. That was,
same here.
And then, and of course, my dad was, it was all built around, a lot of it was built around historical places. We went to Williamsburg. We went to Yorktown. We went to, he loved that.
Yeah,
stuff.
we did all those places too. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. It was, and that's probably why my my younger brother's a history teacher, but there you go. And so Dad, I was going to talk about how me becoming a father. And John, I've got 2 girls, you've got 2 boys.
Yep. And my
we need to
wife
compare
is mad
notes
at me
about how we had to do things completely the opposite.
Oh my gosh.
I was a young dad too. We had our first daughter. I was 22, baby.
Wow.
We were 20, both Grace wife ever and I, same age. We were 22, and it was, and none of our friends had it.
Right.
But I'll say this. She's the reason why we started throwing parties, because it was so much easier to have everybody come to us.
That's a good point.
And for us to try to find a sitter and go out.
You guys are great entertainers.
It was like, come on over. What's the occasion? Who cares?
I need a little bit of that to rub off on me.
What's that? Having people over?
The great entertaining. You guys are just like you throw a good party.
Shit, hey, that's the greatest wife ever.
I know.
And
I think you mentioned that.
Thank you very much. We love entertaining. We love having people over. I can't stand the 7-8 hours ahead of time cleaning the house.
Oh my gosh.
Not...
I know.
And I feel really bad. I'm like, and I swear in recent years, I said to Grace wife ever, I said, why don't I just hire, let's get some maids. Absolutely not. No. She wants to do it herself. And, but doing that and doing all the cooking and we've gotten to the point now where it's like, we're going to do one thing. Everybody brings their own stuff that they're going to drink anyway. But, we have game night. We had game night a couple of weeks ago, which was a lot of fun. Just having people over, hanging out, playing a game. I forget what it was. But, everybody brings their alcohol. And then you get all loose. And then it's just hilarious. Frivolity ensues. But anyway, there you go. That's it. I think that's it. We're going to wrap it up.
Okay.
And for this week, and let's see, I got to one thing on my list. I got the one thing on my
two.
list of things to talk
QOD
about.
was another one.
But I digress.
But
Oh, you know what? I didn't get to. Oh, look, planned summer vacation. That's you. You did that. So
yeah, I did. I did a little bit.
Right,
on that.
a little bit.
Not this
so
year.
the birds, Larry and Ladybird, they have hatchlings, right? And so when we sit out and have our coffee, they get really mad, and they're very vocal because the birdhouse is literally right next to me on a. I'll have to take a picture and post it. Right next to me, they're living in a little a little pizza truck. It's like a food truck.
Yep.
It's a ceramic birdhouse, but it says
looks
pizza
like
on
a
the
truck.
side. But it says pizza on the side.
That's really cool, actually.
Yeah. But they go and so the hatchlings.
The window open up like
No. It's there. The window is there with the awning. It's open.
That to go in and out of it.
They go and do another hole, and the birds, the hatchlings, are tucked in the back. But they go and get all they're feeding them, right? But they have to come up, and then they have to yell at me and give me what for, because I'm still sitting there. But then eventually they'll hop up and then give the food to the hatchlings. But the greatest wife ever is sitting there, and she goes, "Wow, do you hear them?" And I'm like, "No, I don't." She goes, "They're right now. They're peeping. You can't hear them." I'm like,
"Oh boy,
honey,
radio,
years of headphones." Years of headphones.
Squeal.
My end is completely shot.
Yeah.
So unless we stick a microphone in there, I'm not going to hear anything.
Poor Ron.
But Larry and Lady have some hatchlings, and I've named them. There's Roger and David and Chris.
Roger, David.
It was Roger Hillman. It was David Crosby, and Chris Hillman, right? The Birds.
Oh,
the band of the Birds.
I was looking. I was waiting for the tie-in. There had to be a tie-in, and there it is.
Yeah, and if one of them's a girl, it could be Christine. But there you go. Yeah, those are the Birds. All right, this is rapidly falling apart. Listen,
indeed.
If you want to leave us a message, you can call 240-415-9090. 240-415-9090. Say hi to us.
Yeah, do that.
Make sure you share this with your friends. It's going to show up as a podcast wherever you get your podcasts and listen to them. Lately, I've been listening to them in the car, which I'm enjoying a lot. Bluetoothing that into my car, coming off my phone. But also, it'll be posted a little bit later on here on Facebook and on YouTube. And we love you so much, and we love all your comments. I'm reading all the comments, trust me. And I know I'm going to get back to posting more stuff on the Ron Ross page. I've just been a little busy with my new job, and I just want to make sure that I impress.
Got to focus on the gig.
Impress my bosses,
that's number one.
And do what I'm supposed to be doing. And which, but I'm just having a blast, John. I'm just having the time of my life. I'm having a great time.
I know if I were to fill in radio somewhere locally, I would probably be across the moon. I would just be loving life too. Yeah, it is. It's just so much fun.
It is a lot of fun, and then to get people to react when you bring up something. Yesterday, I put up a real quick poll because Greatest Wife Ever and I had crabs for the first time for the season on Sunday, and she had a hankering for crabs. I'm like, let's go! So we went to our local restaurant and got some, and they were wonderful. And so, but not everybody's into it. So I posted a poll to see if it was yay or nay, and to just get people, and that's on the Key 103 page. So to get people to actually respond to that was pretty awesome. So nice. I'm having a great time with that. So, but I will post more stuff here on the Ron Ross page. Anyway, okay, we've gone over. Thank you so much for listening. We love you so much. Please take care of yourselves and each other. Please be safe. John Yaglensky, Ron Ross, love you, mean it. Bicycle.
Bye now.